Community Viewpoint with John Pawlak and Maria Hurst.
And welcome once again to another edition of Community Viewpoint. I'm John Pawlak, your host for this segment, and probably the next segment also. We'll see how that goes. I hope you enjoyed last week's segment. We did some of the outtakes from the Sheldon from the Plum Valley Auto Mart leaving. It took a little while to get up on YouTube, but go check it out. It was really hilarious, and we miss you already, Sheldon. So this week we're going to be talking about training. We're going to be talking about a group of people that I'm part of. It's called the Nye Communities Coalition, and we have the gentleman, Tim Wigchers. He is here. He's the one-stop manager for Nye Community Coalition. We're going to be talking about training, some of the things that we have for you and anybody looking for work. And we're going to look at some of our past history. We had a really good past week, and Tim could gloat on that a little bit. We did a program with, let's go to the other camera so I get Tim in here. It's not all about me. So tell us a little bit about the training that we have for everyone looking for work in town here.
So just as a quick recap, the Nye Communities Coalition has programs and services in Nye, Esmeralda, and Lincoln counties. And we have three divisions. The first being adult workforce that we call Career Connections. Mm-hmm. We have a youth workforce program that's called YouthWorks, and then health, wellness, and prevention. So underneath that Career Connections, that adult workforce program, one of our areas of focus is helping people train for new careers or to gain some training and experience that can kind of increase the position they have within a company. Mm-hmm. So I know in a little bit we'll spend some time talking about that, but sometimes it's very cost prohibitive for people to be able to improve their skills, and that's really where our program can help out.
Right. And that's what we have been doing, and we keep getting better. But it's all grant funded also, mm-hmm. So it's not easy. That we don't have big pockets ourselves. Mm-hmm. It's Stacy Smith, who is our leader, and the other department heads go out and fill out the forms for the grants, which is not easy because you have to dot a lot of I's and cross a lot of T's, and the money is watched over very critically. And it's a well-run entity. The coalition does a lot of good. So tell us a little bit more about that.
So yeah, I mean, you talk about grant funding, and that's one of the things. We with the different grants we get. Sometimes they're a small pot of money, sometimes a little bit, bigger pot of money. But it's always very specific on what we can do. And when it comes to the adult workforce program, the Career Connections, we've actually had a bit of a shift this year, which just started on July 1st, and we're really focused on training. Mm-hmm. And so, for example, and we have a process to go through, and I encourage anybody that's interested in any of the coalition programs, every Thursday morning at 9 a.m. we have a program orientation. So you just need to stop by our office a little before 9 at 1020 East Wilson, kind of behind Walmart, like you mentioned, yeah. Across from the school district office, and attend that morning workshop, and you'll get a good picture of what goes on, and you'll start to learn the process where you attend a few workshops, start meeting with a case manager. The next thing you know, if you have an interest in being, a pharmacy tech, truck driver, working, on HVAC certification, things like that, we're able to assist with training of that nature.
I know I went through the list earlier. Now, if I'm looking for a specific work, let's say I want to work, it's Plum Valley Disposal. Okay, I want to go there, and I'm going to have to drive a vehicle. So I'm going to have CDL training. Mm-hmm. And
more than likely,
yes.
Will be required for heavier equipment.
And I just can't come over by you and say, I want to be a heavy equipment operator. I would have to take a little bit of a test to make sure.
Yeah, I mean, You bet you can walk in the door and say that.
I can say that, yes.
But we do have a process to follow, and it does start with attending a few workshops that we have. Then you begin meeting with a case manager,
Right.
And then if you're not sure if that's for you,
Or if you're
we have
better suited for something
right,
else.
we have an opportunity to go through some kind of skills assessment or interest inventories. The other thing that I haven't mentioned yet, too, is we do require documentation because the new client has to be eligible to work in the United States. So they have to be, residents. They have to have a Social Security card. If they were born after January 1st, 1960, they have to have registered with Selective Service. So there are some steps, but it's not insurmountable. When you look at the fact that, for example, training right now to be a truck driver, to get a CDL license, ranges between $4,000 and $4,500. We have a number of people in training for that right now, and they've gone through this process of where we've gotten to know them. They've provided the proper documentation. In fact, I know just last week we had a gentleman complete training, and he got job offers from 3 different trucking companies. So he's
Cool.
very excited.
Oh, yeah, I
very
would be
excited.
too, yeah.
And that's just one example. I mean, I shared with you earlier today, there's about 30 different categories. One of the challenges for some folks in Pahrump is that there are only 3 training programs available here in Pahrump. There's a dental assistant program, a CNA program at Great Basin College, and I mentioned just before we came on the air today that we have kind of a hot off the presses. Actually, a brand new program was just approved by the state, and there's a new paralegal program with Great Basin College that we can help people with. It's going to be video conferenced across the state, and people will be able to be in a classroom here in Pahrump and participate in that paralegal certification. So that's kind of hot off the presses. You're the first one to know.
And at least one of the district court judges was hot on that too. It's been in the paper lately too. So excellent.
Yeah. So I just got a call, and it went out to all of the providers in Southern Nevada that this has been approved.
Yeah, because I know I would like to go into the electrical portion of repairing and installing solar panels. I myself am scheduled to go up to the Truckee Meadows Community College because a lot of those courses are not offered down here. So I was told I can go up there, and I have grant money thanks to, I don't have that shirt on, but AmeriCorps. And I have quite a bit of grant money at my late age to going back to school, and I'm excited to do that. So I'm going to school to better myself, keep on doing that, keep my mind sharp at my age. But and this is another way for the younger people to do that here and find jobs and learn about those jobs a little bit closer, like Las Vegas. A lot of people have to go for the training.
Right. A lot of the training, like I mentioned, there are now 3 programs for training here in Pahrump. The majority are in Las Vegas, but there are some online options as well. And if anybody is curious what type of training that we can provide, there is an eligible training provider list that is our Bible, our guide. They have to be on there, and that you can look on our website. It's actually Career or Workforce Connections website, but if you just check out nvworkforceconnections.org, and then right on the home page, right on that front page, look for the eligible training provider list, and click on that. You'll see kind of a grid of different categories, and just a couple of them are accounting and finance, construction, dental, energy management, gaming, medical. One of the things that you mentioned about landfill or recycling, you might need a CDL, but there may also be different OSHA certifications required. So there's opportunities for things like that. We talked about pharmacy tech, transportation. So there's a whole menu, and within each one of these categories, there might be 1 or 2 different career tracks. There might be, for example, in the computer category, there's probably 20 or 30 different certifications.
So yeah, don't think you're just stuck in Pahrump. You have the ability to pull yourself up by, as they used to say, bootstraps, and find something better for you. And this is a good way to do that through the coalition giving you the heads up and pointing you in the correct direction.
Right. And the process begins every Thursday morning at 9 o'clock as part of our program orientation. We also have workshops for people that become our clients on resume writing and dressing for success, so you're prepared, for that interview and for that new job. And then we also have one that we call Job Readiness that really kind of focuses on job interview skills and mock interviews. And all three of these workshops are offered every week. But the place to really start is on Thursday morning at 9 with our orientation.
And you just come in there and either you go into admin building or you just go in, make a right-hand turn, and the person behind the desk will guide you to where you should go.
Right. And then before we run out of time, you mentioned the event we had earlier this week. We hosted a hiring event for the Big Five sporting goods store that's going to open in the coming weeks here. And that worked out really well. Worked with our corporate office out of LA. They had us set up interviews in the morning and afternoon. And by the end of the day, 181 people got interviewed. There was an online application process ahead of time. So they had pre-screened people, so they had a feel for each person as they sat down at a desk. And with their process, they were actually able to offer jobs either on the spot or just a few hours later. And by the time the sun went down that day, 26 people had new jobs. 70% of them were unemployed when they walked in the door.
That's excellent. And we had all different types of people in there, young, old, veterans, and male, female, it didn't matter. We didn't have enough jobs, but through the coalition, we find ways to get people and keep people employed.
Well, and we invited a number of community and business leaders to stop by. One of the exciting things for me is that, we all hear about businesses that may be coming to town, and we thought this was a great demonstration of the service we can provide with a new or expanding employer.
Yes, and we're in our last minute right now, so if you want to wrap it up, come over to the coalition.
Yeah, honestly, the best thing to do is to stop by our Nye Communities Coalition. Just come through the big gate. You'll see the signs, and if you get lost, ask somebody, but our orientation on Thursday mornings at 9 o'clock is the place to start.